Hello, people of the internet. Welcome back to TK is Outlandish. I am the TK. In real life, my name is Teresa, and the guy on the other side of the screen is my husband, Ryan. And if you have not been here before, what we do is look at the episodes of Outlander, and we look at it through the lens of a book reader, who is me, and a non-book reader, who is Ryan. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. That's about it. You know what I was thinking about today? I kind of pretend that I'm like a writer on Outlander. I was thinking about it.
How so?
Well, we listened to this one podcast, not the official Outlander podcast for Singapore, but for A Most Uncomfortable Woman. And Matt Roberts went into how they developed the series and each episode, and like sometimes I think that I'm the writer, like what storyline are they going to go with, how is this visually going to play out on the screen. So I kind of wish I was a writer on Outlander. They should, if one of them would watch one of these podcasts, maybe they'll give me a call.
Absolutely. Keep those dreams alive.
And before we go in, sometimes we're drinking whiskey, including Sam Hew and Sassenach, but today I just have iced tea, and you have water, I think.
Just water for me tonight. Yep. Taking it easy.
So maybe next time. And plus, there's only 2 more episodes left after this episode, so right. Maybe for the finale of...
Absolutely. Definitely got to have some Sassenach for the finale.
Season 7A. So... So this episode is 706, where the rivers... Oh, no, I said where the rivers meet. It's where the waters meet. I wrote it down wrong. And it was written by Sarah H. Hote, I believe it's pronounced. And the director was Tracy Deer, who was the director of last episode, too.
Right.
Very quickly, I didn't write down the summary of the episode, so I think I got everything done. So Jamie and Claire and the hunters and other escapees have left Ticonderoga, and they're on their way to another fort. I heard Jamie say, but I missed where he said it was. I
remember saying the name.
Well, maybe he said a place, and I forgot to go back and look at on the closed captioning just to show the name of it. But they're on their way to somewhere. They're not wandering through the woods aimlessly, is the point. And the other thing that I had wanted to point out is, so their retreat from Ticonderoga to this, wherever they end up at the end of the episode, it is around... So since these are historical events, the fall of Ticonderoga was around, I think, July 10th. And then when he meets Daniel Morgan, and like what that's coming up, I think is in September. So this is like a 2.5 month time that they're covering. And Bree and Roger in the future, it's, I would say, just like a few weeks, if that. So the passage of time is a little hard to convey and keep track of in this season. I think it was really hard in the book to do that.
Part of me almost wonders if that's intentional, that they keep time a little bit fluid, and they don't have any definite markers, so they can kind of manipulate what they need to squeeze in, what they need to squeeze in.
Yeah, and that might have been true for the book too. It was really hard in the book because like the whole book of book 7 was like took over place of a year, I think. But Bree and Roger's timeline was like a couple months. So it was a little hard to keep track of. But anyway, so they're retreating from Ticonderoga. Roger gets kind of a job teaching Gaelic to the locals.
Was it actually a job, or did he just kind of get like that kind of one-time engagement?
Maybe it was like a little class.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell what they meant that
Yeah.
to be.
And I think Roger's kind of feeling a little bit aimless,
Yeah.
about that.
We'll talk
But
about that in the screen cap.
yeah, sorry, I keep getting off on these, as Matt Roberts calls it, tributaries. But
Let's start out with the first picture that we got.
okay. So this is Captain Richardson and William. And before I get into this, I just want to say real quick, there is a part in the book where William, after he leaves the hunters, he actually meets up with Archbug. He doesn't know it's Archbug at the time, of course. He just describes him as this like old man. In the book, or yes, in the book, Archbug is missing two fingers that he lost years ago, and he describes him as this old man who's missing two fingers, and he asks him where he got this necklace because Ian had given William a necklace with a bear claw that the Indians had given Jamie, and Ian had it and gave it to William. So he's wearing this bear claw, um, and Archbug sees it and knows it's Jamie's. And of course, in the book, he looks just like Jamie, and he asks him, and you can tell he's been following him because he says, "How do you know Ian Murray?" And it's just like this creepy thing. And I'm wondering if they should throw something in there like that to remind us that he's still out there. He's still creeping around.
Well, didn't they in like the prior episode, was it Singapore?
No,
Whenever
no, the one
Ian
before.
was like yelling into the forest.
No, that was 2 episodes ago.
Was it two? Okay.
Yeah. Do you think they should bring it back up, or do you think we're like good?
I think we're good. I felt good. Like
Okay.
we know that he's out there. I think if they brought him in, it would feel forced at this point, or at least not until
Yeah.
um, until Ian has something worth taking. And
Mhm.
obviously, Ian is taking that too literally. Well, too literally, like, oh, he's worried about Jamie and Claire, um,
Yeah.
but that's not what Archbug meant, and that's not what I think any of us understood it to mean.
Hmm.
So I think we're good. I don't need to see Archbug again until his next big reveal.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay. Um. So, when Captain Richardson says that the guys that I sent you to see, which in the dismal town or whatever, and William found out they were patriots, and Richardson was like, "Oh no, they're spies." Do you trust him, or do you
That's a
think he's like?
good. Do I think he might be um, a spy for the Patriots? Is that what you mean?
Do you? I don't know because um.
Is that what you're asking me? If I think that
Do you
he,
think Richards? Do you think that those three men that Richardson sent William to see were actually spies, or do you think that Richardson was setting William up to be like captured or whatever?
I don't know. I didn't really get any hint of that.
Okay.
Um, I'm just kind of more surprised that William didn't understand that they were they were spies, and it took all that exposition on Richardson's part to tell us about like how are wars won, like through you know strategy. How is strategy achieved? Through intelligence. How is intelligence achieved? Oh well, through
That
spy.
was probably for our benefit, though. Do you
It
think? Maybe?
I'm
I don't know.
I'm sure it was, but it felt a little bit forced to me.
Yeah.
That William didn't have any clue. Like, oh, they were spies. As it just like the light bulb clicked on. Like, really? Like that just clicked on to you that they could have been spies?
Shouldn't he have just told him that before he left? Why didn't he just tell him that before he left then?
Why all the subterfuge? That's a good question. I'm not sure. Maybe so that whenever William met them, he was convincingly ignorant. If he was captured and interrogated, he wouldn't have the knowledge to pass on.
Maybe. I think that's all I had to say about William and Richardson. Just keep your eye on Richardson.
That was an interesting little dialogue that they had. I mean, at least
Yeah.
an interesting interaction. I'm
Yeah.
interested to see where that leads.
All right. So next pick. So these are the ley lines that, and he uses the term ley lines, but both Ryan and I were like, did they explain what ley lines were? Or they just kind of throw that line out
No,
there. We're supposed
they
to.
they threw that just out of nowhere. That came out of nowhere. And if we and I'm still surprised that I got that last episode just out of the blue that they called those ley
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just again to explain to anyone about ley lines, it's not a real thing. It's they're metaphysical, magical things that some people think exist that pseudoscience
Normal.
stuff,
Oh, okay.
and they feature prominently in some old school RPG games. Again, this is where my knowledge of it comes from. So if it turns out that Diana Gabaldon is an old Rifts player, wow, that's amazing.
Wait, here's my question. Do you have any idea if ley lines were? I've never read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know what it's about.
Mhm.
Do you know if they use that term in that book?
I no, they don't. Not to
Oh,
my knowledge. But Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and is kind of like a spoofy kind of book, and talking about ley lines and time travel and all that stuff. I mean, did calling it the Traveler's Guide is Hitchhiker's Guide to Time Travel sounds pretty funny and reasonable to me.
why? Do you know when it came out?
I don't. It
It would have.
was pre 85 at least.
Okay, so it could have been out because he does mention that book in the book 7, and that's
Okay.
why I wanted to go into it more in the book. And I'm like, well, if you haven't read the book, if you hadn't read the book, okay, you Ryan, you haven't read the book, but you knew the term ley lines from other books and other movies and
Yeah.
fiction or whatnot.
Other
But
media.
if you didn't read the Outlander books and you had no idea what ley lines were, would you have known what they were talking about?
Oh,
Do you think?
heck no. No, of course not. Like they don't talk about they don't give you any context for what a ley line, and I might even be saying that wrong. It might be ley line.
No,
Uh,
I think he said ley line.
you're right. He did call it ley line. Like yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting that that's what they came up with. Um, and I'm gonna see if maybe I'll make a prediction here.
Ooh.
Um, so based off of this stuff, ley lines again are lines of earth energy or magic or whatever you want to call it, that runs around the globe in various parallel lines. Um, and at certain points, they intersect. And that intersection is sometimes called a nexus point. And so whenever two or more of these ley lines meet, that might be enough magic or whatever to disturb space time to cause a rift like that they
I
can
think
walk through.
yeah, I think they just call it like an energy
Yeah, they call
yeah.
it an energy.
Or like a magnetic field or something. They went into it a little bit more in the book, but I wasn't like super interested in it, so I don't quite remember. It was I think that's another reason why, and I say it all the time, I had such a hard time with this book, but you get like the historical aspect of it when you go to the 18th century part, and then you have like this like science fiction but yet trying to explain it in a scientific way part of the 1980s Roger Bree storyline. It's just
Mhm.
very, very hard. It was very, very hard for me to mesh the two.
Well, there is, it's more than just well, I mean, it is fictional, but there is a history of people believing ley lines exist, and actually like
Okay.
publishing articles on it, and historical societies making uh, showing how, oh, here are all these archaeological sites. If you plot them all out, you can form a line that goes straight through them. And so the people who formed these archaeological sites must have put them there as a way, recognition of these energies that exist on this line.
Would it? Would it? If that's true, is that true that there's like a straight line? Do you know, or is that a theory? Or
It's
because I'm just thinking, like, if it's what if they're just marking how the sun comes up between? Because that would be a straight line too, wouldn't it? If the sun comes up at like midsummer at dawn on midsummer's the first day of spring, let's just say the equinox.
yeah.
Wouldn't that also make a straight line?
Well, yeah, but this is not just a straight line with not like a Stonehenge, in a short spot, like various sites like across the country, across the globe. If you plot them out, they form straight lines. But statistically speaking, if you have enough archaeological sites, then you could find any various number of points where you could draw a straight line through a number of them.
That's true.
So that's really what it comes down to is just coincidence. That's over. Yeah. So I don't want to dwell on this too much more.
Okay, yeah, I'm done over that. So the next thing I wanted to do.
So there we go. That's my takeaway. They're gonna call it that when two or more ley lines intersect, whether they call it a nexus point or not, doesn't matter. That will be how the rifts in time are formed whenever these certain ley lines interact with each other. That's why you can't time travel anywhere on the ley line. It's just at certain points along the ley lines.
Okay. Oh,
there we go.
So, okay. So you can only travel when they meet, not when it's just marking.
Correct. Because otherwise, you could travel anywhere along that line. But whenever they meet, that creates a point, and that point is the time travel point. And because there's multiple lines, they intersect at various points across the globe.
Right. All right, we'll have to go back to that maybe.
I could talk about this nonsense all day. I love it. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Maybe we'll have a specific episode dedicated to ley lines and theories of time travel.
Great. I'll pull out my old RPG books. We'll have a good time. All right.
All right, so next we just have Roger again. This is the look that Roger gives when he realizes that Rob read his book that he's rating for Jem and Mandy, talking about who they are as time travelers.
Whoopsies.
Yeah. So Rob came off pretty pushy in this scene, didn't he?
He was. I mean, that was an interesting scene. I went through multiple what's happening moments.
Yeah. Not like a what happening like bad writing, but like what happening like this what's this like uncomfortable. This man is very pushy on what is happening.
Yeah, and I didn't know at first. Was he coming on to Roger? What then? I was like, was that happening? And then, but like, no, he very well knew he was married. Then was he trying to just get in good with the boss?
Yeah.
Did he read something in there that struck him funny, kind of in a gayless type way? Like,
yeah. Why is he so eager to come over?
Yeah. Maybe he's a time traveler from the past who's made himself comfortable here and wants to go back.
I mean,
I'm not officially guessing that. I'm joking.
Okay. So, that's all I had to say about Rob. Next picture.
Okay, yeah, that was just a weird interaction. I'm not really sure why they put that in there. Like what part he's going to play later. You might know. I don't. Didn't meet. I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, we'll leave it at that
then. There wasn't two. Wait, that's not the wrong one,
hun. Which one do you want to see, hun?
Will, Ian, and Claire.
Okay.
There we go. So, I said, oh, wait. I did want to. Okay. Well, we'll go back to that. That was my fault. Because we're doing a comparison. I'm sorry. We'll go back to that.
Pre-production meetings, hon. Pre-production meetings.
We did, but I forgot. Okay. Excuse me, but this episode jumped around a lot and it was very confusing.
It did. Okay. It did.
So, William, Ian, and Claire. So when Claire gets taken again, Um, I'm trying to flip through the book, and I cannot remember if Claire gets taken. I do know that in the book, Denzel gets taken because they do this thing where they pretend that they're deserters to get information, and he does it one too many times, and he gets caught. So it's Denzel that they rescue. It's pretty much the same way though that um Ian's like, you owe me a life. And I think it's kind of funny that William said, because you saved my father's life. And he's talking about Lord John and he's saying it to Claire. And I was like, oh, more than you know, she saved your father's life.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was well done. I think Ian,
Yeah.
that was a good play on Ian's part to play the part of a scout, a Mohawk scout.
Yeah.
That was intelligent on Ian's part. It was good on Jamie's part to believe it was a good decision on Ian's part.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so we have that interaction. And in the book, Jamie does set a fire, but he sets it a different way. He has like a small clay stove, I think. And when he shot the arrow through the air, I was like, when did he learn how to shoot arrows? I forgot when he was living in the cave, he was like an archer.
Yeah,
I
I don't
forgot
know if he's
about
as
that.
good as Ian would be, but apparently he's still
Yeah,
got.
yeah, yeah. I know. I guess it's like riding a bike. Once you learn, you don't forget. Um,
This these interactions with William, it feels like they're stumbling closer and closer to the big reveal. I mean, I don't know that there's going to be one. I just kind of assume there has to be because it's such a big thing. But yeah, like he meets Brianna. He comes across Claire
it's
again.
like
And
everybody
Ian.
but Jamie.
Right, right, right. So you
Yeah,
feel like all the pieces are being put into place to like, and
yeah.
now you're waiting for like someone to knock that domino over.
Well, I mean, he did meet Jamie before on Fraser's Ridge.
Right,
I
right.
I don't in the TV show. I think he does realize that the person he met on Fraser's Ridge was the groom he had growing up, but I don't think he knows that in the book. Like he remembers there was someone around, like a protective person named Mac, but he doesn't really remember exactly what he looked like. So I don't think he's made that connection. Um, there's one more thing I had wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, it
Oh,
while you think of that, it feels like it's all just speeding up as well. It's
oh,
not like it's not like there was just a single hint dropped this last season and a single hint dropped this season. It was
yeah,
like the hint was dropped episode 2, and then again, episodes 5 and 6, and like now we're really ramping up the Fraser encounters. At
yeah,
some point, it's just going to hit a critical mass, and Ed Williams going to be like, "Oh hell!"
yeah. I still don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I was just gonna say that in the book I still didn't like William, and I really like the way that Charles, I can't remember what his last name is, but I really like how he is portraying him. So now I like William.
But that's good. I'm like really curious now, like what made you dislike him in the book. This might be too long for what we got going here, but it's just interesting that like I really like William. He seems,
Yeah.
I think he's being played very well, and I like what
Mm.
about his character in the book made him unlikable.
He was a little just too cocky for me. Um, and he still does. There's even a. I won't go into it too much, but I liked him. Like I started to like him when I read book 9, but there's just this point where I'm like, I just want to. Maybe it's just immaturity, and I just want to like smack him upside the head.
That's fair. That's fair. He does
Yeah,
seem like someone who needs that.
yeah. Well, I mean, there was the like how you said how Richardson had to like, and what do spies do?
Yeah.
Like, so
Uh,
maybe there is still like this little bit of immaturity, but I don't think it's as bad as it was in the book. So, go back to the last picture that I told you I wanted and then said I didn't want.
Yep, yep. I'm glad the camera was off me when you said that. Of the faces I made,
Walter Woodcock dies, and so apparently his character in the show is kind of a combination of two characters. But Claire does amputate his leg or his foot. I just read it a couple hours ago to remember. But in the book, she's not sure that he is died because she leaves before she knows, but she's pretty sure that he has not survived, and this is going to play later into the TV show. But
Ah.
I've had a couple flashbacks. Certain scenes reminded me of stuff, or reminded me of something that happened in the past. And this scene right here reminded me of when Claire tried to save the slave back in season 4, and she ended up like euthanizing him, I guess is the word. But I was just wondering if that did that remind you of that as you were watching it, or not until I said something?
Not really until you said something. It was just two people dying. That's all it really was, and I guess that's significant because Claire hasn't had too many people die on her. From all the people we see, obviously,
Yeah.
those people who we don't see that she treats, but like of the people we've seen on camera, she's had fairly good success at keeping them alive.
Well, it's not even just that dying. It's the way she like tried to have them have happy memories as they were dying. Like I remember, and I think his name was Rufus. I think from season 4. I think she said like, "Oh, try to remember your childhood and your sister and stuff." And she was telling Walter, "Oh, think about dancing." It also reminded me of the very first season when Jordy was gored by the boar, and she tried to like think
Yeah,
of him, or I forget what she said, but that just what it reminded me of. And I tried to get an actual shot of her, like I think she crossed his arms, and I think that's the same thing she did with both Rufus and Walter, but I might be wrong. But that's what it flashed me back to visually watching the show. And I've been having a lot of that this season, like Bree with the care, talking to the Karen, and there were other stuff that I said about, and I can't remember what. But like I've been having a lot of like moments where where it reminds me of past seasons.
yeah.
So
I
that's all.
I feel so bad for Walter.
I
First,
know.
he has his leg amputated, which
Yeah.
isn't fun back in those days.
Right.
Without the ether. And then what? A couple weeks later, he dies. Like, oh,
Right. And he was like willing to go, and he was like, "Oh, I can do it." I'm like, oh, that sucks.
right. Yeah, kind of be like, kind of wish you would have taken a
Yeah.
chance, huh?
Yeah. Before we move on to the next one, I had wanted to say, I bounced around a little bit because I didn't have a picture for it, but when they leave Ticonderoga, I guess it's dawn, and then they get to wherever are they crossing a river? I don't know. Wherever they're getting to the other shore, I guess it's like the middle of the day. Then they're walking around, and then um Mrs. Raven like wanders off, and then it's dark, and then it's night. I'm like, how long were you looking for her? Like, I understand you consider her your patient. She's a little gone, but how long are you looking for her? I'd just be like, look, I gotta go. Like, I'm not finding you. That's that was
Jamie really needs to get one of those like child leashes, like the harness you put on like kids, and just keep her on a leash.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little different in the book. She does off herself, but I think she slits her wrist. She I don't think she. Oh, and then I was like, where'd she get a gun? Because I don't think they were like, I don't think everyone was walking around with guns, especially women.
And a gun, well, a gun would attract the attention of nearby soldiers.
Which
Um,
it did.
what in the
Which
movie, which it did in the TV series, right?
yeah,
If she
yeah.
split her wrists, how did Claire come to be captured then?
That's but that's not how it happened in the book. That's why she killed herself before they even escaped. She just like lost it. And she like continued.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then how did Claire end up getting captured in the book?
I don't remember if she did in the book. I was trying to flip through and remember, and I'm like, I know Denny does, but I can't remember if Claire does.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll try to go back. There's so much that happens. There's so much that they like don't have. There's like this whole story before they even get to Wilmington where they find these two little orphan boys in the woods and they take care of them and they find out they're actually not boys, they're girls. So Ian drops them off at Miss Sylvie's, the whorehouse, and says train them to be bouncers. Like there's so much. There's so much. I'm like, I'm kind of glad that they skipped that story.
That sounds advisable. That's a call there.
So, you have Jamie and Claire, right?
Yep. Next.
So I just wanted to say real quick, I couldn't find it's actually it's more of an auditory remembrance than a visual. But when Jamie said, "Tell me of William, my son," it reminded me of Jamie telling Claire back in season 3, show me my daughter, or show me our daughter or whatever with Brianna and tell me about her. That's what, and again, is that what it reminded you of, Ryan? At all?
It didn't remind me of anything in the past. Maybe I just have bad memory of like the past season.
Well, that and the fact that I've probably seen every episode like 6 times at least. So
you have at this point. I've rewatched everything with you once, but I know you've watched everything much more than that.
Yes. So, and then we have the last. Okay, people. So Brian, I knew who this was because of the book. People who are reviewing this are gonna be like, yes, I know who this is. People who are reviewing this who have read the book know who this is. Ryan had no clue.
Yeah, no. He was random long hair, like Jason Momoa. I don't know, like.
So, and it's not even like Roger looks at him and realizes, oh, you're the one that's been scared of my kids. I'm gonna punch you. He literally says, oh, it's you. Like he knows him. He recognizes him.
Right.
And for those of you who have not read the books and I don't consider this a spoiler because apparently I watched like a clip on Stars of the making of season or the making of episode. What episode is this? 6, 7, 6. And they say who it is, and I'm like, so is the audience supposed to know who this is? And that is supposed to be, bring up the other picture. That is supposed to be William Buckley Mackenzie, who is Dougal's and Galis's illegitimate son from season 2-ish, I guess. No, season 1. She was pregnant in season 1. Who was played by Graham McTavish in season 5. And he can't play him this season. And it's not because of scheduling conflicts. That's all I'm gonna say.
before we breeze over this, so like, who is this dude again? Like, just so we know, like, yes, it's he's the guy who got Roger strangled.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes. So those of you who have not read the books, you might not remember. William Buckley Mackenzie was Dougal and Galis's illegitimate son, but Dougal.
We don't know that. We don't know that as TV.
Oh crap! This might be a spoiler.
I was thinking that. I was like, the only thing we know about this guy was that he's the husband to the woman that Roger saved. I'll put it in the show notes or in the title. I'll make sure people know.
Okay, yeah, we should put a timestamp because I think it's known in the book, but they didn't. But wait, stop. Because even if you're just a TV viewer, I mean, if Graham McTavish, who played Dougal, is playing William, I think even if you haven't read the books, you should assume that that's Dougal's son. Do you know what I mean?
I guess, but what they gave him some pretty heavy hair and beard and stuff.
They had to. He's bald in real life. I mean,
I didn't recognize that as Graham McTavish when he played him.
Okay, so apparently we were supposed to do that too. Like viewers were supposed to realize that was Graham McTavish. I don't think I did.
Nope, nope. He was just random large dude that Roger punched in the face and then got punched in the face from and got hung.
Yeah. But we do know that he is Morag's husband who.
Yes.
No, I think we are supposed to know because back in season 3, Claire tells Roger that doesn't she? Doesn't Claire tell Roger? Like, don't they bring out like the yes. Claire tells Roger because she was wondering if she should stop. No, this is the last episode of season 2. Claire told Roger, I don't know if I should stop Galus because Galus ends up having a son with Dougal. And you come from that and you might disappear or whatever. You might not exist. So, yeah, we know.
But we don't know that's that dude.
Oh, okay.
Like we know that they had a son, but we don't
Yeah.
know that that particular guy that Roger stumbled over in the camp before he got hung was him.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
going
we'll just put possible spoiler towards the end in the show notes.
possible, right? Uh,
Okay.
but and also one thing is, I don't know. They're usually pretty good with details as far as like continuity.
Yeah.
But in this episode, in this picture, I'm gonna swap pictures here for a second. This picture, he looks very young.
Yeah.
Like no gray in the beard. I get it. Graham McTavish is an old guy, but they didn't feel the need to de-age him at all or much for this one.
Yeah. Well, because he had I guess they figured the wig was enough. I don't, and the
Right.
beard.
There's a lot of gray in his beard if you look closely. I look
I
pretty
mean, they
close
did
at it.
a good. Well, you know what else too? Um, maybe it's that particular picture. It's dark. You know, the details aren't as distinct.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him like when they posted the pictures on Instagram or Twitter or wherever they posted on that he was playing that part. I was like, oh yeah, see when you morph it like that, it's actually not that bad. But I don't think that people are gonna come to the conclusion that that's the same person.
No, no. Well, yeah, that's assuming you remember in the first place. And yeah,
Mm,
I had no idea. I was like,
yeah.
apparently this guy has slighted Roger in some way and deserved to be punched in the face.
Yeah.
And now that I realize who that's supposed to be, yes, Roger has done the correct thing.
and like I said, I was like, well, okay, was that supposed to be like a cliffhanger? Like we're not supposed to know who that is? But then, like I said, like I saw the video on Stars's YouTube channel where they talked about it, so I was like, oh, I guess we are supposed to know who that is. So I don't know. He kind of looks piratey,
He does.
honestly.
Yeah, he looks piratey.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this episode. But I'm gonna delve into next episode that they had shown the previews for. So there's only, like I said, there's only 2 episodes left. The only way that they're going to, they have to end season 7A with them going to Scotland. There's no, because for them to be like, they would literally, there's no way they can't fit that all in 2 episodes because they would have to have the next episode have like a battle, them go to Scotland, only spend 1 episode in Scotland, and then I don't know. There's just no way. But I wish they were going to Scotland because they recast Jenny, and I really liked. I can't think of her name. Laura Donnelly, who played Jenny. I really liked the way she played her, and they recast her. And I'm really curious as to see how this new actress is going to play Jenny. So I'm going to keep saying it. I think next episode is going to be a cliffhanger.
A broken clock is right twice a day. So
That's right.
that's
That's
right.
right.
Keep saying it.
And I don't have now. I really, really thought that they would take a break somewhere in this season and just not have it one one week. But I guess they're having there's a new episode tomorrow night at midnight, and then the episode after that is the season 7A finale.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably up against a schedule crunch with Men in Kilts,
Yeah.
so they
Well,
can't.
yeah. And then Many Kills is starting April, August 11th, and it says Friday night. So I don't know if they're gonna take their times slot.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That would make the most sense of when to put it.
Yeah. So if it starts August 11th, this episode is July. What's today? 20 would be July 28th, and then the next episode, yeah, that would be August, whatever, the first week of August, and then
Yeah.
the week after that would be Men in Kilts, right?
Right. Right.
So yeah, I guess we're just gonna plow through. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be so mad if season 7B doesn't premiere until like the summer.
I
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to have that kind of gap, but
Yeah. I'm hoping it comes out in like February or March, like either late winter or early spring.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
and I'm sure they're gonna, they're trying to buy themselves more time for production for the next season. Um,
I also think they're trying to see if Diana Gabaldon will have enough from book 10 that they can end the series similar to the book. But if they change certain things, like book 8 kind of if they change a couple things, they can end book 8 or season 8 like book 8 but without like a cliffhanger. So I don't know. I know that there's going to be elements of book 8 in season 7B just because of the casting they said that they were going to have. So I don't know. We'll see. But there's only 2 episodes left. And then I'm going to have to make a couple episodes, just like random episodes of this. Because
okay.
this was a very short season.
Yeah, it felt it too.
And the writers trying and the producers or whoever trying to say like, no, it's an extended season. We're split up in 2 parts. Shut up. No, it's not. It's 2 short seasons that you tried to mush together.
Now I gotta say, as a someone who watches a lot of anime as well, this is commonplace, so it doesn't bother me at all. I'm very used to it. But for everyone
Yeah.
else, I could understand how, not getting 12 or 24 episodes straight in a row can be frustrating.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all, I think that's all I had to say. It was I think next episode is going to be really good. It's going to be like really action packed.
I think so,
Um,
and more time travel stuff apparently with this dude.
yes,
Cool. Looking forward
yes.
to that.
I had to admit when I read the book and I realized that he like fast forward, I was like, really, really, because everyone else had like gone to the past. Now we have like past the future. I'm like, oh, really?
I don't see any. I don't see any reason for that to be a issue. That jives fine with everything they've set up so far.
I guess I have a theory that if you are from like Claire, if Claire is from like it goes to the past, if somebody is goes to the past and dies in the past, they're gonna be like cursed to always relive the same um thing. They're always gonna be in like a dimension where they're always born and goes to the past and fail, like Galus, because Galus wasn't a good person. Um, Whereas if you, so if you were from, if you go in the past, like Claire, Bree, and Roger, you can't die in the past because then you're going to be stuck in that loop. You're going to have to go through. But Demi and Mandy won't have, Demi and Mandy won't have to do that. It doesn't matter because they were born in the past. What do you think about my theory? Just threw
Interesting,
that out there.
but they were born in the past of people from the future.
Yeah.
Hmm. We'll talk about it.
Alrighty, so I'm just gonna throw that out there. It was really random. All right, so everyone, thanks for sticking around, and hopefully we'll be able to get we'll get the next episode up before the day before the new episode pops up. So everyone have a good night, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.